The rumor had spread like a ravenous fire among the inhabitants of the small town. It was said that deep in the forest, hiding among the undergrowth and mystery, was an abandoned camp where eternal light. The legend told of horror from decades past, unsolved murder, unexplained disappearance, and tormented souls that wander the path of the place. For a group of friends made up of Daphne, Valeria, Emma, and Martin, curiosity for excess fear, fascinated by the unknown and diving the warning of the locals, they decide to venture toward the camp on a dark and stormy night. They had planned their trip and didn't not stop for anything. The rain fell hard as if the sky itself was trying to dissolve them from their dangerous journey. Emma loved the horror histories they told in the town, and so did Valeria, while Daphne didn't like this and neither did Martin. On the way, a lone figure emerged from the mist, a silhouette disturbed by the darkness. He was an old man with sunken eyes and an expression of deep terror on his withered face. With a trembling voice, he warned them of the horror that lurked in the camp, of the shadow that had come to life, and the souls that had never found their peace. But his friends, rooted in their youthful arrogance, had ignored his word and thought it as the delirium of a superstitious old man. Upon arriving at the camp, reality had surprised even his worst nightmares. The vegetation had claimed it as its own, devouring the wooden structure, and only with ruins remained. The air was filled with a putrid smell, and the shadows danced among the trees like hungry ghosts. Despite silent warning from those around them, the friends decided to stay. Daphne said in an instant. My great fear was realized. The sound of emptiness and silence don't allow me to feel good. I am very scared. Martin, who was next to her, said, so am I. Immediately Emma said, my hand was touched by someone. Help! With a desperate cry. And then she laughed, and she said, I am not afraid. And Valeria said, neither am I, with a nervous laugh. They all laughed and joked as they pitched their tents among the rubble, ignoring the whisper of the wind and the chill that ran down their spines. They had talked about the dark first part of the afternoon, but when night fell on the camp, everything changed.
Valeria was very scared inside herself, but she didn't want to look weak in front of her friends. She wanted to get out of there and she pretended that nothing was happening. While in the camp, she heard voices and whispers telling her to give up. So she felt scared and she started crying. And she sat down on a rock while she thought about what she could do because neither of that was happy to her. Martin and Emma had been together because if they separated, they had to completely cut off their fears and being in such a horrible place. Suddenly, Martin felt a chill all over his body, and Emma saw a mystery picture. This painting had been there for at least 50 years ago. It was about a man, very elegant, with an elegant cut. He was on a chair, but it wasn't like a common chair. It was covered for vegetation, and this picture was incredible. Neither wanted to see her because Emma suddenly becomes that it was familiar. She tried to remember something about that picture, but she couldn't remember a lot of information about that. So she had been confused for a, for some minutes and suddenly appeared darkness. And they listened to a ritual, and Emma listened to her friend that said, "Please, Emma, help me, please. Don't let me alone." Emma had been hanging the painting, and she forgot that her friend Martin was disappeared. So she believed that maybe the murderer could kill them, and she believed that the souls needed help. So it was, and she needed that help all the ghosts that keep in that forest. At 12 o'clock a.m., in the other camp, Daphne was hurt. She was without a shoe and she was blood, bloody because she had been running and she had cut herself a little with a rock. But she neither remembered very well what was happening. So she heard the voice of Valeria, and Valeria was crying and was sad because she heard screams and she recognized her friend Valeria. So she ran away when was Valeria and she hears the footsteps and she only had the option to keep silent. But neither could see his face. She felt someone close to her, but she decided to keep silent. She heard very close, so she felt scared. When suddenly she felt a hand around her neck, trying to suffocate her. She didn't want to die, but she heard her friend that she was crying and she needed help. But immediately the murderer let her go and he escaped. He told her that she and her friends never could escape of the forest, of the camp. Emma had remembered that her grandmother had a photo of that handsome. It was about the man. It was a mystery. And he was talking about that. So She remembered that her grandma was talking with her about one mystery that happened in the compound. So, but she didn't believe that it was real because neither imagined that it was real. She thought that it was a fairy tale, but suddenly she saw how her friend Valeria died. And Valeria said that all the ghosts only needed help because there was a murder that anybody believed that was real in the forest.
Thus, Emma begins to put together the few pieces of the puzzle. It was then that Emma recognized the picture of that man who, out of at the moment, Emma managed to hear whispers and footsteps approaching quickly towards her. Frightened, Emma doesn't know what to do, but recognizing part of the clothes.
With hearts full of hope, Emma and Martin headed towards the lake, determined to rescue their friends. The air was thick with tension as they moved through the trees, each step heavier than the last. As they approached the cabin, an ominous feeling came over them, as if the forest itself were whispering warnings of danger. When they finally reached the cabin, the scene that unfolded before them was one of absolute terror. Daphne lay on the ground, her lifeless body in a pool of blood, her face frozen in an eternal expression of terror. Tears filled Emma's eyes as she let out an anguished cry. Martin was paralyzed with horror. He's been struggling to process the brutality of the event before him. Desperate, they looked for Valeria in every corner of the cabin, but their efforts were in vain. The absence of their friend we had of the light alert with the emptiness of her despairance, filling the room with an overwhelming silence. Emma fell to her knees next to Daphne's lifeless body, her hair resounding with the pain of loss. Martin tried to comfort her, but his tears overflowed as he struggled with the cruel reality of what they had lost. Heartbroken and hopes shattered, Emma and Martin were forced to leave the fight, carrying with them the weight of the tragedy they had witnessed. The darkness of the forest enveloped them as they walked away, each step a silent agony as they faced a future without their friends by their side. As they walked towards the edge of the forest, a feeling of desolation came over them. They knew that they could never forget what they had seen that night, that the shadow of tragedy would always follow them, like a dark cloud hanging over their heads. The sun began to rise off the horizon, but its light could not dispel the darkness that now dwelled in their hearts. With heavy steps and tears in their eyes, they walked away from the camp, carrying with them the weight of their memories and the pain of their loss.